I did text our guy Rod Beard this morning to find out because I am still excited about the trade about Marvin Bagley and when we could possibly see him on the floor. And he said it'd probably be Sunday at the earliest, but more than likely next week because he has to come through. He has to do his physical. He has to get a practice in with the team. So everyone and myself, we got to cool down a little bit. Just cool your expectations for next week. But I was looking at some numbers for Marvin Bagley. I know there's some injuries, some games missed, but I was looking at his averages compared to like some of the top end or bottom tier top end sitters in the league, and they're not that far off. Sam, you might like this. I was looking at DeAndre Ayton because that's the name that the Pistons are rumored to try to chase this free agency.
Perennial big man.
Yeah.
Right? But like perennial big man. I mean, and Terry Foster brought up JaVale McGee.
Mm-hmm.
JaVale McGee, DeAndre Ayton, maybe more upside. Is he in Phoenix still?
JaVale McGee is
no.
DeAndre Ayton's still in Phoenix.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So he's been and Bagley, I guess, coming out of college or whatever, there's some sort of comparables of both big guys down low. I like what Terry said. See, my thing with Bagley, all the noise aside, is the health.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because what Terry said is Bagley's a guy that's going to come in and do all the little things in the paint around the room, right? That you need. You need that grinder, scoop it up if he can be that guy. Now, if it's a health issue, if he can be on the court, that's the big thing. But you're telling me as far as stats-wise compared to Ayton, who is another big man. Like these are three. Those are a couple guys that I'm saying, oh, okay, I see under the rim guys.
Yeah, not far off. Ayton, 16 points average per game. Bagley, 13. Ayton, 10 rebounds. Bagley, 7. The blocks is obviously where Ayton kind of takes that one over. It's 1.1 versus 0.7. But then going on to Rudy Gobert, 12 points, 15 rebounds. Now, we ain't touching that 15 rebounds. Gobert's a beast at that. That's what he does. But Miles Turner, a guy that, us Pistons fans clamored for a long time. And actually, I believe that I don't know if it's true or not, but there's rumored we may have offered Jerami Grant for Miles Turner at some point during the trade deadline. It obviously didn't go through. But Miles Turner, 12 points, 6 rebounds. You have our Bagley, 13 points, 7 rebounds. So it's like he's good. Sam, what negatives do you see from the trade? Like, what concerns you, or like what's valid, I should say?
Well, injuries, of course, because he's missed a ton of games. And the fact that if you're a Kings fan, you might consider Marvin Bagley a bust. Maybe he's just not that guy. But and also, he needs to stop shooting threes. Oh my God, I think he's below 30%. So if we can get him to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But the Kings are a terrible organization.
Yeah.
They've ruined a lot of players. And I think Marvin Bagley's the type of guy that can pair very well with a guy like Cade Cunningham. Give Cade Cunningham a big man that he can actually, do the pick and roll with and throw the ball to and get some more assists. So there are a couple negatives, like I mentioned, but I'm still very happy about the trade.
Yeah, he's an athletic finisher, and like you run the floor with him too. And like to your point though about his dad, and what may happen off the court, we as we said yesterday, there's no true 5 on this team, so he's gonna have every opportunity to prove himself here in Detroit. And if he doesn't, like unless his dad's just completely like oblivious to things, he's going to have nothing to say because, like, again, he's going to have every opportunity to prove himself, and if he doesn't, it's kind of on him,
So it's pretty much said that we look at that he's got the opportunity to come here to play a role in an organization that is on the upward swing, trying to develop themselves, and he could. So, Sam, I hear some excitement in your voice because potential. There could be some potential filled here. He's got more potential in his game. If he's coached right and fits into a system, like you said, with like as a true number 5 or wherever it is, you find him working. It can work out.
I think it can work out, and one of the biggest reasons is because the Pistons, they're not a good basketball team, but they have a direction. They have a GM that you trust. They have Cade Cunningham, a guy who I believe is going to be a future superstar. He might be a guy that can be the best player on a championship team, and he's also a leader. He's a floor general. He can get opportunities for a guy like Bagley. So yes, I believe Marvin Bagley will work. There are a couple concerns, but I think this is a very good trade, and I think this could really work.
And what you gave up as
Not
far
much.
as the 2 players, draft picks, that's fine.
Honestly, like Josh Jackson and Trey Lyles, I mean, what are they really? They're not good. I mean, they're just not good.
Yeah, it is what
I mean,
it is.
Josh Jackson's a bust. He's shooting 41%. Trey Lyles is really just, I mean, on a good team, he might not even play.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, what about the next thing that addresses the fact that Jerami Grant, who we've been speculating on getting traded and stuff, like the fact that he isn't, is this one of these things that we will look back on and the Pistons are going to regret? Like, is this something, or is this sort of a bigger plan to see how Bagley for the second half of the season plays with Cade, and then going into training camp time to see what it is? You know, the one thing that I hear, right, that I hear is that the relationship between Grant and Casey and Weaver is good.
Phenomenal.
Right? So the fact that trying to make it work or not, I just don't know the betterment of the team. So my question is this do you like the play? Because I look at it like he's sort of trying out. Like Sam said, this team isn't good, but there's a direction. So the second half of the year, if they can get some guys healthy, get Bagley in there, see what they have, then it makes more of an asset because you know exactly what you need to trade for.
Yeah, I think like with a lot of this stuff, people need to like just pump the brakes on the emotions a little bit and take a DMAC edible and get that 30,000 foot view of things. Because with the Bagley thing, I kind of spoke on it yesterday, is like he can play a true 5 for you. And what happens in the draft, I feel like the number one pick, a lot of people are assuming he's going to be Jabari Smith, who is a center. But the rest of those guys like Chet, Blanchero, those are like big guys that we would want.
Here's the question. Okay, here's my question. If Bagley shows in the second half of the season to be like a positive, something to work with, does that change your top 3, 4?
No.
Whether you figure you're going to pick 2 or 3 or whatever, does that change your pick at the top of the draft?
No, but it makes you more prepared to if you don't get that number one pick.
Okay.
Because like I said, like Chet and Blanchero, those guys are going to fall into the 4 position, in my opinion, at the NBA level. What do you think on that, Sam? I think prepares us to have a 5 in that situation.
I mean, Banchero I see as a 4, and Chet Holmgren, he's the guy that I want. I see him being like at his ceiling is a much better Kristaps Porzingis, which is like a 7-footer who has guard skills, who can shoot the 3, who can pass, can run the floor like a deer. He needs to get a little weight on him, but he's a completely different player than Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, and in terms of like the Jerami Grant stuff too, I want to say is like take that DMAC edible, get that 30,000 foot view, and realize that this guy is a good basketball player. All right, he played in Denver where they made the Western Conference Finals, and he was able to take the step back. He wasn't the ISO ball guy you see here in Detroit. He was able to play with the league MVP and Joker and Jamal Murray. You know what I'm saying, like he knows what his role is. And on this team, hey guys, we're a bad team. So his role is to step up and like take the shots he's been taking. Like he's kind of forced to. We're going to see that in this situation because we're not a good team. Other than that too, like everyone's opinion on Grant's value being the highest as it was at this deadline, I completely disagree with. I think you add in like contending teams are still going to want him next year. Right, you have the draft in which we already see Troy Weaver utilize that for Luke Kennard into Sadiq Bey, and then you have the contending teams that are still going to want him next year. On top of people who want to clear the cap, take that 30,000 foot view and see the big picture. Is all I'm asking for. And I respect everyone who has that opinion. It's your own, but I promise you, Troy Weaver is a better NBA GM than you. He knows what he's doing. He's won majority of his trades, I think, if not all of them. So just relax.
I think I want Chet here just because we haven't had a Chet in Detroit since Chet Lemon. Right, Stick? Since it was his Chester Lemon in center field, making basket catches and stuff. Sawyer, did we have some sound about, was it Troy Weaver or somebody talking about the trade?
I didn't grab any sound, but I just saw Johnny Kane on Twitter put out, "Don't sleep on what the Pistons are building in Detroit."
Yes.
Well, I mean, and he's got a check mark like I do, so I mean, what he says must be true. But that's what you're saying. To me, guys, it's one of those things. It's building the foundation.
Yeah.
And we're gonna watch losses and the team on. This isn't the team moving forward, but they're putting sort of pieces in place.